Good day, it's Tony Fortunato from the technology firm, and today I'm doing something a little bit different, like I always like to do. Today I'm covering some white papers and articles written by some of my colleagues. Some you may have heard of, some you may not have. Some are new to me as well, and I thought you would get a big kick out of learning something from different people. So I titled this one today's Top Network Superheroes. And basically it's a collection of articles, and you'll see what that means in just a bit. So just a little background information. So ProfiTap's company, they asked some analysts, including me, to share my experiences, tips, and tricks as I use their product, this ProfiShark. Tap is a tap. People know what a tap is, it's a tap, but the difference is you gather the information using your computer's USB port, not your Ethernet port, right? A traditional tap, you're going to capture it listening on your Ethernet. Well, we're going to use USB to do that with a ProfiShark. Okay, so that's a little different. So they went away, they made a bunch of characters of us, which was pretty cool, and I put a collection of these articles together for you. Number one on the hit parade is Mike Pennacchi. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for quite a while. He teaches clients how to fix their own problem. He's also a troubleshooting guy. He does a lot of training, just like me, and his URL is right here, nps-llc.com, Network Protocol Specialist. I encourage you to go there. He's got a lot of cool information for you, and I guarantee you will learn something. So his article was titled Measuring Device Latency with the ProfiShark. So Mike shows us how to use the span mode of the ProfiShark, not a other span like you might know with Cisco. This is a ProfiShark term. And what he does is he measures the latency introduced by a Microtik router with NAT, right? And the theory is whenever you add to the configuration of a network or a device, it will slow down. And the question now is by how much? So Mike is showing us how to measure that latency. Oh yes, and Mike did not do a white paper. He did a YouTube video, and that's that link down there, and I'm going to provide that in the notes. Stuart Thor Kendrick. So he writes, maintains enterprise network and devices. He's also got this monitoring application called the NetOps Toolkit, which is very interesting in itself. He's got a website, skendrick.com, and his paper was titled Inline Tapping in the Data Center. And I found this one really intriguing. So he takes us through the trials and tribulations while adding another VLAN to a cluster. And the reason why I said intriguing, I don't really work at this level. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in clusters. I just normally don't get that deep. So it was really interesting for me to see the commands and the problems he was running into. I was impressed with the level of detail and photos Stuart provided because he kind of walked me right through the whole thing, including the ProfiShark Manager app and his cluster CLI. Again, I normally don't do that stuff, so I was really interested in that. I also like that Stuart used yet another tool while he was troubleshooting called Mass Ping, which I'd never heard of. And that's the benefit when a lot of us consultants get together or just collaborate. There's always a tool somebody's using nobody's heard about, and that's the one for me. Jasper, MacGyver, Bongertz. And Jasper, I apologize if I just mangled your last name, but I think I got it. And he has two sites. He has a blog, which I can't say enough good things about. It's an excellent blog, lots of information. It's very informal, just kind of like the way I write. It's very easy to understand. So good, very good site. And he's also the author of Trace Wrangler, which is a very popular application for me. Popular. I use it everywhere. I use it on my troubleshooting, use it in my training, use it in my lab, use it in articles. It's an excellent packet manipulation application. I'll leave it at that. You can go check it out if you'd like to see what it does exactly. So his was titled A Look at a Portable USB 3 Network Tap. And what he did is a really good detailed review of usability tips with the ProfiShark. So he gave me a lot of good pros and cons with real world examples, which is what I like to see. And I also like the fact that he started to cover this whole concept of the timestamp, which again, I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but if you read it, you'll see why that's relatively important. On to Ray Spock Tompkins. I've known Ray for quite a while, and he is the founder and principal developer at Gearbit. And what they do is take all your packets and they display it in a really good presentable format so you can troubleshoot and understand what's going on a lot easier. It's gearbit.com. And Ray's paper was titled Troubleshooting with Gearbit and ProfiShark. So he walks us through the pretty typical slow response time complaint that people always throw at you. And he walked us through the methodology and how he used Wireshark to identify the root cause. So it's always nice to see those types of write-ups. Again, always picking up something new. Now, here's a new name to me, and I apologize if I totally butcher your name, but I'm going to try my best. Megumi the Flash Takeshita. I hope I got that close. She runs a packet analysis company in Japan, and she's authored 18 plus books. Now, you see, that to me, that was impressive because I don't even know if I read 18 books about Wireshark. So that was quite impressive. She's a contributor to Wireshark project. She's presented it multiple times at DEF CON, SharkFest, Interop Tokyo, and other conferences. And I've put her Twitter and her URL on that page as well. So what did she do? She did a ProfiShark long-term capture. So the neat thing about the ProfiShark is you can actually have it integrate with a NAS, and you can actually capture for longer periods of time. So she did a great explanation of packet size versus throughput, which I always try to cover because it's a very, very important point. She covers the installation and configuration of the manager application. Lots of screenshots, very good. And they did a great walkthrough on long-term captures to a Synology NAS. On to Tim Captain O'Neill, our captain, our godfather of networking. Tim's been around for a long time, 50 plus years. He pretty well knows everybody, I think. He runs lovemytool.com with Denny Mew, and between the both of them, they got a great site there. I'm a contributor there as well. And he's become a good friend too, if he'll admit that in public. So he wrote about span port or tap, CSO beware. And it was a white paper that discussed if span ports are viable. Now, anybody who knows Tim usually brands him as the guy who hates span, but he did a really good job of explaining why it's viable. Not that he doesn't like it. There are certain situations when it's not a good idea to use a span. But he also talks about why span is not a passive technology, which is really good to understand. And finally, when is span okay? So I strongly encourage you to check that out. His second one, it's a pretty wordy title because it covers quite a bit of information. Basic rules for network data visualization access. He talks about VLAN technology, talks about VACLs or ACLs. And if you don't work with this stuff, it's a really good way to get up to speed on it. If you do work with this technology, it's a great review and you may actually pick up some tips and tricks along the way. Moving on to Tom the Guru Tosh. So Tom founded a company called Key Metrics in 2007. So he's a network performance consulting guy, and he's built a tool that allow people to work more efficiently. So you can capture the data more efficiently, get it to consult more efficiently, and therefore fix the problem a little more quickly. And there's his website right there. And he basically wrote a paper titled Coordinated Multi-Site Visibility with ProfiShark and EasyTrace. That's his tool, EasyTrace. And it was a really well-written introduction to EasyTrace and how he uses that with ProfiShark. Then there's me, Tony the Inspector Fortunato. I'm the Senior Network Specialist with experience in design, implementation, troubleshooting, router switches, all that kind of troubleshooting jazz. I do a lot of write-ups, I do a lot of videos, I do a lot of presentations, and my web URL is thetechfirm.com. So I did two things. I did my write-up and I did a video. And mine was titled ProfiShark Performance Results. So I used a traffic generator, and I wanted to compare how well things like T-Shark, the built-in NIC on my laptop, TAP, SPAN, and ProfiShark. How well do all of those technologies, how do they perform? Do they drop packets? When do they drop packets? Why do they drop packets? And I also like to cover the impact of packet size and performance, not only on your application, but on your tools as well. Lastly, we got Brad Aquaman Palm. So this is a new name to me as well. He's a problem solver, says convergent thinker that looks forward to challenges in bridging the physical and virtual worlds. And there's his LinkedIn URL. Now, this paper was different than all the other ones. He took a more security side slant, which I thought was great. So he uses the ProfiShark to start digging in and finding out if a machine's been compromised or if he thinks there's something wrong. So at the beginning of his story, he starts off by running several other tools, and they all suggest the system is fine, it's not compromised. He has second thoughts. He starts digging in, grabbing some packets, and he does prove in fact that there is something amiss. So it's very well written. So I hope you enjoyed that little video. I hope you enjoy the write-ups. All the links are going to be right there at the bottom of the description, and enjoy yourself. Have a good day. Bye for now.